Hey there. So I'm going to do a quick video on brows. I get a ton of questions about how people can do their brows, and it can be really overwhelming when you are looking at your brows, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming, and it can be simple. Okay, so I'm going to give you some really easy tips and tricks that will give you the brows that you've been wanting. And so the first thing, I'm just going to dive right in, is you want to make sure that you brush your brow. No matter how thick or how thin, you always want to brush your brow. The next thing that you want to do is you want to assess where your brow begins, the center of your brow, and the end of your brow. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to, from the tear duct up, you don't want to go from the bridge of your nose up, because everybody's bridge is different sizes. Some are larger, some are more narrow. So you don't want to go from the bridge of the nose up. You actually want to start with the tear duct and you want to go up. And that's where you want your brow to start, okay? Once you identify where your brow starts, then you use the bottom of your nose, the bridge of your nose, and identify where the center of your brow is. Now, let me just tell you, not everybody has a real defined arch, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to work with what Mother Nature gave us instead of working against us. Makeup is about enhancing your natural beauty, in my opinion. We don't want to work against what you have. So in order to identify where the center of the brow is, whether you have an arch or not, from the bridge of the nose through the pupil and up, that is the center of your brow. Okay? And then to identify where you want your brow to end, it's the bridge of the nose through the corner of the eye and out. So the reason we want to identify the beginning, center, and end of the brow is because we want to make sure that it frames our eye. It's kind of like your eyebrows are the curtains to the windows of your soul. You want them to be framed, okay? I personally love to use our Shadow Sense for brows. It's just really easy to apply. It's fast, and it's multiple uses. So I can use this for my brows, shadow, liner. There's multiple uses for it. So I'm going to put some Onyx. I use the darkest because I have very dark hair. So what I want to do is I put some Onyx on a palette, and I'm using an angle brush, and I'm going to dip in the Onyx. Now, we identified where we want our brow to begin. So I actually draw a line. Okay? So you can see where I want the brow to begin. There it is. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to draw a line to the center of my brow. Remember where we identified the center of the brow? So I'm drawing a nice faint line to that center point. Then what I'm going to do is from the center, I'm going to draw from the center to where I want the tail to end. Guess I should put more color on my brush here. Okay, so I have the beginning, middle, and end to my brow. Now what I'm going to do, whatever's left on my brush, I am going to fill in with my natural hairline, or my natural hair. And then from that line up, I am brushing upward into the hair. So that it blends nicely. See how it's starting to blend? If you make a mistake or you want to lessen the color, these spoolies are awesome for that. You just kind of brush where you want it to be faded, and it works as a nice little eraser, okay? So I'm blending into my natural brow. Now what I want to do is I want to attach the top to the bottom of my wing. And how I do that is I just take where my natural hairline is on the top and I attach it downward to my point. And I'm going to fill it in. And again, I'm working with the natural shape of my brow. And these kind of tips and tricks is going to work with your natural shape of your brow. I'm not working against you, I'm working with you. And every brow is so different that you want to identify like how it's gonna shape, where the beginning, where the middle, where the end is. Because everybody is so different. So I'm just filling in. Now, once it's filled in, I've got my nice brow here, okay? Then what you want to do is to identify how much forehead space you have. Okay, and the reason I say that is because if you have thinner brows, so for me, I have thick brows. So to go above my brow is not necessary. I can stop now and my brow is good to go. Okay, but for someone that has a little thinner of a brow, what you want to do is you want to go above now and fill in just on the top part. If you have bangs that come down, it's really not necessary and it's kind of a waste of product to kind of go above the brow. And then identify how much space you have down here. If you filled in down here, then you've utilized the space that's on your brow bone rather than taking the space up here. And if you have a smaller forehead, you don't want to lessen the space. So keeping it low is going to benefit you. But if you have a longer forehead or a very thin brow and you want to add on the top, you don't want to go too far up. You want to play with the natural ending point of your brow and just go right on that line. And I'm going to show you. So look at me now. Now watch the difference just a tiny bit can do for you with the brow. So I'm going right on that line. And I'm not going up much further than my natural lash line, much further than my natural brow. I'm just going right on top of it and I'm blending it in to the hair. But just going right above, see how much thicker it is? And now I'm going to blend it. And it's just small little strokes. Hold the brush at the end and it gives you a lighter hand. And I'm just doing little strokes. But see how easy that is? 1 second, please. So you see how easy that is? Just identifying the beginning, the center, and the end, working with attaching from the beginning to the center to the end. It gives you steps to work with instead of doing one long swoop, which is really intimidating. Then identifying if you need to go above the brow or keep it just below the brow or to do both. Okay, and then filling in with your hair. Pretty simple, right? And that's as far as I'm gonna go. That's all you need to do. And the more you practice with it, the better that you'll get. Okay? So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you try it. And remember, if you're not used to filling in your brows, fill in your brows, give it the day. It's that shock factor where, you know, you get your hair done. Like if I were to go platinum blonde tomorrow morning, it would freak me out and I would hate it. But maybe giving it a day or two, I'll warm up to it and I'll like it. That first initial reaction is an emotional reaction, whereas a later reaction is more of a reasonable, rational reaction. So if you're not used to doing something like this, give it a day or two, and see how you feel with the rational side of you, okay? Because something new is always going to be a little scary and a little shocking, okay? So give it a try. And I hope you like it. I hope you think that this video was helpful to you. Bye.